What's going on, PATS Nation? This is the CLNS New England Patriots Postgame Show. I am your host, Marvin Ezhan, and I got my co-host with me, Mike Molyneaux. We just wrapped up Week 2 of the Patriots game against the Houston Texans, where the Pats took another L, unfortunately. Close game, 27-23. Mike, a lot of things happened, went down the wire. What did you see in this game, man?
I mean, just like you said, it went right down to the wire. Jacoby Brissett was in there in the fourth quarter, had a chance to have a game-winning drive and get a win for the Patriots. But unfortunately, with the turnover, the fumble that happened, the football, rolling out of bounds once Jacoby Brissett got hit. That was the end of the game right there. And, I mean, another loss. It's only preseason, so, you can't get too down on these losses in the week 1 and week 2 that the Patriots have taken. But at the same time, the Patriots used this game, Bill Belichick, the coaching staff, used this game to give their starters, especially on offense, a chance to play. We saw Brady, we saw Cooks, we saw Edelman, we saw Hogan, and we saw Rob Gronkowski, a guy who hasn't played in a preseason game since 2012, I believe. The Patriots have been very protected with him. Of course, we all know his injury history. They probably figured, do not play this guy in preseason, save him for the regular season. But they threw him out there today. Don't really know why. I remember, I think coming out of halftime, Bill Belichick was asked, why are we seeing Gronk? We haven't seen him since 2012. Why is Gronk playing in this game? And in typical Belichick fashion, he didn't really give a straightforward answer, a clear-cut answer. He just said, we're just trying to get a look at everybody, and we're just rolling. This is how we're doing things. But yeah, one thing we can be grateful for, Marv, is the fact that while the offense was out there, the first team offense, no injuries, nobody got hurt.
On offense.
Everybody, probably banged up a little bit for the most part. Nobody really went down with any injuries and whatnot. And did they look amazing? The offense that everybody's been hyping up, over the whole, offseason about all this team is going to be great. Great weapons, might be, go 17-0, whatever the case may be. It's only preseason. We didn't see anything great. Obviously, Brady was out there, had a pretty solid game. Was out there. I think he played the whole first quarter, if I believe. Finished the game 6-9 for 67 yards and a touchdown. So, Brady's out there, did his thing. I think he did find Cooks for one reception.
Yeah, for like 7 yards, a quick out. Everybody's been waiting.
Everybody's waiting to see him do his thing. But for the most part, it's good to see the Patriots offense, Brady get back out there, Cooks on the field, Edelman. It's good to see the old guys back out there. Only preseason game, so you can't read too much into it. But all I looked and saw was that the fact that nobody got hurt. Everybody was healthy.
So let's continue talking about, this first team offense out there. It was great to see, like you mentioned, Brady and Cooks. We wanted to see more, that we saw a little glimpse of what could be in the future, quick out, 7 yards to Brandon Cooks. But the biggest question mark in this offense is the running back position. You signed Mike Gillislee. Someone correct me. I keep messing up his name. You sign Mike Gillislee. You give Rex Burkhead, a big contract. You still got Dion Lewis, and you extended James White's contract as well. So it's a logjam in the running back position. We got to finally see Rex Burkhead, and boy, he did not disappoint. 7 carries for 20 yards, but he did a lot in the receiving end as well, with 3 receptions for 50 yards and a touchdown. And he looked like Dion Lewis-esque,
James White-esque,
Danny Woodhead-esque. What I didn't know is that he had that speed. He has some speed into him, and he wasn't afraid to mix it up inside as well, banging in there. He doesn't have the full size, but you can tell he's not afraid to go in there and hit. So Burkhead was a great surprise, and that's another weapon for Brady. It doesn't matter what running back. It seems like it doesn't matter what running back's out there. If Brady's in trouble, he can count on their running backs. In the second half, we can talk about the running backs that are trying to make the team, like DJ Foster and all as well. But first team so far, you saw James White. James White looked good out there. Dion Lewis looked as good as he did last week. So what sense are you getting, Mike, on this running back position in week 2?
I mean, it's crazy. Everybody you listed, Burkhead, the White, the Lewis, they all do the same thing, and they all do that same thing very well. Like, I mean, this is the first time really seeing Burkhead, and unless you paid attention to what he did earlier in his career, this is the first time a lot of people are seeing Burkhead. And from the glimpse we got today in this preseason game, he's another James White out there. He's another Dion Lewis. He has the speed, he has the great hands, and even you can even hand him the ball in between tackles and hope for a couple yards. Like, this is what the Patriots do. This is what they like. This is why, over the years they've continued to go down this route of having these type of running backs. It all started with Kevin Falk and what he was able to bring to the table. Then you go to the Woodheads, the Vereenes. Now you're at the Lewises, the Whites. Now Burkhead's a part of the mix. The Patriots like those type of running backs, and it seemed like they found another piece, another guy who can do the same thing in Burkhead. What I always, looked at, looking at the running back position, while they did have LeGarrette Blount last year, playing alongside of James White and Dion Lewis, LeGarrette Blount was good for those short yardage situations, those first and goal situations, maybe 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. Maybe you just want to give it to that guy to punch up the middle. That's why over the years you've had LeGarrette Blount, who are the guys that the Patriots had over the years who were just bigger backs. And those
Ben Jarvis,
Green Ellis, I don't even want to say Lawrence Maroney too much. That guy,
Dancing Maroney.
But I mean, the Patriots always had the balance. They had those, those guys who have great hands, good speed. But at the same time, they always had one guy who's maybe a kind of a power back, just to be able to punch things through the middle sometimes. And that's where I think Mike Gillislee falls in. The Patriots signed him, to do something on this team. He's not just going to sit around and be wasted. And he's that power back. I think, we both know about Mike Gillislee through fantasy and whatnot. We saw the type of game he has.
He gets yardage. We saw how, you mentioned LeGarrette Blount. We saw how he can move the chains, especially in goal line. That was his, specialty. But he only was averaging 2 to 3 yards per carry.
Very true.
Then you get a guy at like Mike Gillislee, and he's averaging 5 yards per carry, doing the same role as LeGarrette Blount. So can you even imagine with this offense, where the Patriots in the goal line run the most out of any team in the NFL, what he can do, the damage he can do? And let's not get it confused. We have a great offensive weapons, with these receivers and the tight ends and even the catching running backs. But this Patriots team is going to run the ball. And if you watch these past 2 preseason games, they have emphasized running the ball. You can even see that the commentators during the game were getting kind of annoyed. Like, let's see a pass to Brandon Cooks. Let's see this. But they were just running. This team is very balanced. Last year, we ran the ball a lot. And I know we're talking about, running backs to go inside and punch it in. And let's not forget, the year we had Dion Lewis, when he exploded for those 10 weeks, he was our 1st down, 2nd down, 3rd down running back. He was doing it all. Yes, he was a great pass receiving running back, but he was running it down the middles too. And then his injury started happening and slowed him down. And James White, he's not a great runner. He's improved so much as a passing running back. He's getting better. Burkhead, we've seen a glimpse. It's only 1 game, and we still haven't seen Gillislee. What's his name? Bolden's been playing.
They've been giving Bolden a lot of work in these preseason games.
If you watch the games and you didn't know anything about the Patriots, you think Bolden's the number 1 running back. He's been getting a lot of work, and he's been playing well. Like, all of the running backs that have been playing so far, Mike, I give them an A. They've been playing very well.
And it's going to be great. Once the season comes around, you have the starting players out there consistently. This running group that the Patriots have, the fact that they're all doing things so well, it's just going to make life so much easier for Cooks and Edelman and Hogan and Gronkowski, because teams are going to have to worry about the run. Teams are going to have to watch extra close to when, they snap the ball and Brady drops back. Teams are going to be focused in on where Burkhead or where White or where Dion Lewis is going. And sometimes, maybe not all the time, there are a lot of good defenses in the NFL. But there's going to be times where teams focus in too much on what a Lewis or White or Burkhead is doing. and they're just going to let an Edelman or Cook slip somehow, some way because they
don't want to do that.
And if you let you know what Edelman brings to the table, I think we all have read up and understand and seen what Brandon Cooks brings to the table. It's going to get interesting. I mean, there's reasons why this team and this offense has got a lot of hype. And I mean, I think sometimes the running back position, it gets overlooked because the wide receivers, Gronkowski, like those guys are great. But the running back position in the personnel that the Patriots have, it's going to just open up a lot of doorways for guys to be very successful in the Patriots offense.
So not only did the first team offense go out there, but we got to finally see some of the first team defense go out there and play. You know, we saw Malcolm Butler come out. We saw the Malcolm Butler, Stephon Gilmore. I mean, I gotta get these names right before the season start. We got to see Gilmore and Butler. You know, that two tandem. McCourty was out there. No Hightower yet. He's still in the PUP list. The return of Allen Branch. You know, that is huge. Because if you guys don't know, we are really thin when it comes to the defensive line right now. Derek Rivers, unfortunately, our first pick in the 3rd round, tore ACL, so good chance he's out for the remainder of the season. We lost Ninkovich in retirement, so we are very, very thin in the defensive line. So we got to see anything we can get, and then you losing to Landon Roberts in the middle of the game. You know, your linebacker, 2nd-year linebacker, who's been developing into a pretty good player. Now he's gone too. So a lot of changes that are going on into this defense. And speaking on the cornerbacks, we finally got to see, you know, what will happen when you get a Gilmore and Butler tandem. And it's early, you know, we just everyone's, you know, shaking out the kinks and everything. But Butler got targeted a lot in this game by Savage. And not only did he get targeted, he got beat. He did let up a touchdown to a wide receiver in, what is his name? Strong. He let up a touchdown to Strong, and then Ellington kind of mossed him early in the first quarter. You know, Butler works hard, tough-nosed player, but this height advantage is always going to be an issue. And now that you have Gilmore in there, you know, to take care of those tall receivers, I'm guessing. But if you have two guys there and there's a mismatch, I feel like Butler's going to be the guy that they target the most.
It's crazy, you know, like you said, a lot of the first team guys got a chance today. And it's only preseason, so, you know, you can't get too worked up, can't get too high, can't get too low on what you're seeing. It's only preseason. But like you said, Butler got beat out there a couple times. And this is by Tom Savage. You know, Tom Savage. We're not talking about a Drew Brees or Aaron Rodgers.
Savage looked good.
But we're talking about a Tom Savage. Guy finished the game 8 of 9 for 98 yards and a touchdown. Like, watching the game, it just looked perfect. He was just in sync with his guys out there, his receivers. And on top of being in sync with his receivers, it didn't help that, you know, guys like Butler he looked like a fool out there, you know, a couple of times, especially that touchdown that Too Strong got in the end zone. It didn't look good at all. And like I said, it's only preseason. You can't read too much into it. You're just hoping and believing that, you know, everything is going to click. We saw how great this defense was last year. You know, obviously they're not a team that's huge on the turnovers, the interceptions, the fumbles. They're not a team that's huge on making those type of plays happen. But they will stop teams from scoring the football. You know, Patriots are one of the top teams in the NFL with fewest points allowed. So you got to give them a lot of credit. Obviously, between this preseason game here and the one last week against the Jaguars, you know, the defense looked pretty shaky, very shaky. You know, you're talking about 27 points given up tonight, and then last week I think you said 31 points given up to the Jaguars. You know, once again, preseason, not all the starters are out there. You know, you got the second, third string guys who might not even make the team. They're out there, you know, trying to play and show what they're able to do. So you can't base everything off of all of that. But with that being said, you know, seeing what the defense did today in the beginning of the game and how Tom Savage was really carving them up, just got some work to do. That's all I can say. You know, I'm not gonna, you know, try to wring the neck of the defensive players right now because it's only preseason and you don't want to get too angry off of what you're seeing. But at the same time, Tom Savage, 8 of 9 98 yards and a touchdown. It's perfect. Perfect for that short period of time he was in the game.
I mean, the reason why, you can't escape this undefeated season talk, Patriots going straight to the Super Bowl this year, comparing them to the Golden State Warriors, was that not only that we knew that they had a crazy offensive powered team, but their defense was going to be amazing too, especially with the addition that they have made with bringing in an Ely, bringing in a Stephon Gilmore. Guys like that, you really think, okay, you solidified your secondary. You really know your linebackers are great if you keep a high tower in there. But things are starting to look, injuries happen. The past 2 weeks have not looked good when it comes to defense. I mean, the receivers have been open. Running backs have been running through them. Tackles haven't been clean these past 2 games. So there's a lot of mechanics. You see Matt Patricia out there. He's tearing his head. He's going a little crazy right now. But this defense needs a lot of work. It's not as top notch as I thought it would be as of right now. And we only got to see 1 quarter with the first team. We are missing a lot of guys right now. We're thin, Mike. We are very thin. One thing that drives you crazy, Mike, if they don't know, is that we can never get to the quarterback.
I was just going to bring that whole thing up.
Ask me how many times a quarterback, out of the 3 quarterbacks that played, Whedon, Savage, and Watson, how many times they got sacked in total?
None. 0.
Once? One time. That was in the first quarter. Savage got sacked.
That's even surprising to me to hear that. I mean, that's just been an issue for the Patriots for years now. As great as the Patriots teams have been, Tom Brady great, Belichick great, Super Bowl wins, whatever the case may be, as great as everything has been, one of the main issues that I have with this team and the defense is that their pass rush is sorry.
It's weak.
It's been a bad pass rush for years. There hasn't been I couldn't even tell you a big time Chandler Jones when he was here.
Chandler Jones is a great pass rusher that we had.
They had, what's his name? Andre Smith. Oh, what is his name? Andre something that was on the team years ago, veteran player, but he
bringing it back.
He led the team in sacks. I forgot his last name. Andre something. But just even that, you can't even name a lot of guys who really.
Trey Flowers is getting there.
Trey Flowers, yeah, but you look at other teams around the league with guys who are putting in work, getting a quarter. I'm talking to Von Millers. I'm talking.
I mean,
like
you can definitely tell that the Patriots understand that was a concern. Drafting Rivers, drafting Deontay Wise in the 4th round, drafting those guys in there, bringing in an Ely, bringing in a Lawrence guy. They definitely understand that was an issue, that they weren't able to get to the quarterback. But then you got a list here. You lose Chris Long. You lose a Jabal Sheard. So there's a lot of things that are, I don't know. There's a lot of things that are missing, and how do you make up for that?
It's a lot. I mean, looking at this list I just pulled up here, the majority of the big time pass rushers and the guys that led the team in sacks in 2016, they're not on the team anymore. Jabal Sheard, Indianapolis. Rob Ninkovich, retired. Chris Long, Eagles. Malcolm Brown's still Malcolm Brown's still there. Trey Flowers is still there. But you're missing guys. And even...
They're not even double-digit sacks.
Trey Flowers led the team last year in sacks with only 7. There's guys in the league that's talking about racking up like 30 sacks this year. Like... It's tough, and I mean, it drives me crazy. And it's just looking at how the team is set up this year, with the players that they have, pass rushing is going to be a huge issue. Obviously, it's tough for us to argue this because at the end of the day, the Patriots still have so much success.
Yeah.
They won the Super Bowl last year. They won it, 2 years before that. So how mad can we get at the Patriots for not, really addressing this issue with the pass rush? I mean, believe me, us two here and fans all over, they will argue during the course of this upcoming season about, opposing quarterbacks having too much time in the pocket and Patriots not being able to hit a quarterback in the game. It's going to be an issue this year, and it's especially going to be an issue this year because there's no I can't think of a player right now that stands out big time. That's going to be, he's going to be able to make a difference. Maybe Trey Flowers, maybe Malcolm Brown, ups his total from 3 from last year to something, we'll see. Maybe we'll get 4 this year. Who knows?
But what do you do then? How do we address this problem? Because we are still in the off season. Are there players out there that you can think of that can help this team? I know there's Dwight Freeney, old veteran. He's getting there in age.
Sure
you can try to call. I heard this also. Try to call Rob Ninkovich back. See if he wants to come back. Limited role. Who else is out there that? Or do you even need to bring anyone out there? Or do you stick it with these guys?
The thing is, the Patriots have never really tried to address this issue. I mean, like I said, they've just had guys, in the roster fill in the different positions or whatnot and see what happens. But you've never saw it as a huge emphasis. The Patriots have gone out in free agency and thrown money at this big-time pass rusher. You saw them put emphasis on going to get Stephen Gilmore. Mm-hmm. We saw them put emphasis on going to get Braden Cooks, making that trade and bringing in another weapon for Brady. We haven't seen a real emphasis over the years of Patriots trying to sign somebody who's going to be, okay, they're signing him because they know they want this guy to be the big-time pass rusher on the team. It's never been a huge emphasis, which goes back to me saying, how can you really argue this so much? Because the Patriots have still had so much success. Like I said, last year, they were one of the top teams in the NFL with fewest points allowed. So maybe in Bill Belichick and the coaching staff and Matt Patricia's eyes, they're like, who cares if, we're hitting the quarterback and forcing him to, throw the ball away, forcing an interception, whatever the case may be. Who cares if they get into the quarterback? Because at the end of the day, they're not giving up a lot of points.
The bend don't break defense.
And the name of the game is you score more points than the other team, you win the game. So maybe the Patriots and the coaches that just does not care to put a lot of emphasis on it. They'll go get guys, they'll sign guys, they'll draft guys and hope for the best that they can develop and do something, make something happen. But the Patriots, it's not all about the pass rushing for them. They're not going to put a huge emphasis on that. And that's just something I think as fans, we're going to have to live with because that's just what it is.
All right, I also wanted to, switch gears a little bit, Mike, and let's talk about the quarterback play. So all three quarterbacks got to play. In the first quarter, it was Tom Brady, as you mentioned earlier, went 6 for 9, 67 yards, touchdown, didn't get sacked at all. Okay, Brady game, he did almost throw an interception, which was a questionable throw out there, but preseason, we'll see how that goes. Garoppolo, 50 for 23, 145 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He got sacked twice. Garoppolo looked really good out there to me. He looks like a well-established starting quarterback. I know during the game watching, I'm like, Mike, this guy has all the mechanics, man. He's looking really good. He did throw a ridiculous interception later in the third quarter, I believe, that he'll learn from. But Garoppolo looks really solid out there. He looks like a guy that can start in many NFL teams.
He can be a starter on a lot of teams in the NFL that have a send Garoppolo will go over there. Who's in Jacksonville that's battling right? Bortles and Chad Henne. Put a Jimmy Garoppolo on that team. Yeah. There's no battle. There's no maybe Henne, maybe Bortles. It'd be Garoppolo. Like Garoppolo can be a starting quarterback on many teams in the NFL, but unfortunately he's behind the GOAT right now, so there's nothing you could do about that. But I know you had an interesting point you wanted to bring up, something that, like we said during the game, it's not really been talked about too much, but you made some valid points and you should definitely share with the people.
I mean, so speaking on his quarterback, Garoppolo, we mentioned Brady, and then you have Jacoby Brissett, who played in the fourth quarter, 5 for 10, 36 yards, got sacked twice. Okay outing. You don't get to see much. Just like last week, we said you couldn't say much on Jacoby. It was all right. He missed some throws, especially in Jacksonville. There's not much on Brissett. And now you start thinking about the guys that are hurt on defense. You're gonna need to bring in more people, and that cuts are coming soon. There's a big 37-player cut now that they're doing. Mike, and the people CLNS who are watching this, I have a strong feeling that Jacoby Brissett will not make this team. Come September 7th, he might not be on this roster. Listen, you have Tom Brady, you have Jimmy Garoppolo. Garoppolo's looking great out there. Is there a reason to keep a third quarterback? 1. 2, Jacoby, he's developing. I like him. He's athletic. He brings a different, aspect into quarterback that we haven't seen since, because we're so used to Brady. But he hasn't looked that great out there either. He's not getting much playing time in practice. That I've been told, he's not getting much playing time in practice. Then when he comes into the preseason, he's getting limited play on fourth quarter garbage time with third, fourth stringers throwing it to a Cody Hollister that nobody knows of. It's starting to look like the Patriots are pushing Brissett out the door, and he really might not make the roster. Can you name me how many teams have 3 quarterbacks?
I mean, there are not a lot of teams with 3 quarterbacks, on top of the fact that historically Patriots have only gone with 2 quarterbacks on the roster. They usually don't hold on to 3. Obviously last season was a different situation with Brady missing a couple games, and they just needed to have some kind of insurance behind Garoppolo. The reason why I maybe think they want to hold on to Brissett, last season, knowing Tom Brady was going to deal with his suspension, you already have a young quarterback in Garoppolo on the roster. They didn't need to go out and draft Brissett. Honestly, Brady's coming back after suspension. You're going to give Garoppolo the reins to the team. There's a lot of free agent quarterbacks that you could have just called and said, honestly, we just need you to come, just be on the roster, hold a towel, hold a cup of water, something. Just be here, just in case something were to happen to Garoppolo. There's no reason they needed to waste a draft pick on a quarterback. Knowing that Tom Brady's coming back, you have Garoppolo, why draft a quarterback? So I think there's a little more to them wanting to bring Brissett to the team. Now you look at the team today, obviously Brady played at a high level when he came back last season. People are expecting him to still play at a very high level this season. Then you have Garoppolo behind him. Like we both can agree on, he's looked very good during this preseason. He could probably be a starting cornerback on many other teams in the NFL. I think the Patriots, with Brissett on the roster, here's a young guy who came into the system. He's learning, like Garoppolo did. He's learning from a great coaching staff, Bill Belichick. Now he's learning from the greatest quarterback to ever play in Tom Brady. If, and a huge if, Tom Brady were to suck this year, and you wanted to move on from Tom Brady, or maybe Tom Brady takes it upon himself to say, hey, I'm not good anymore, let me retire. Now you have a team, Garoppolo's a starting quarterback, and now you have a guy behind Garoppolo who was just like Garoppolo, has learned and is coming up in the system. Obviously you could go out and sign any quarterback to be on the team. You could sign many guys who are out there sitting around waiting for a phone call who's been in the league for 6, 7, 8 plus years. Mm-hmm. But maybe the Patriots like the fact that they have a homegrown guy who is in the system learning how they do things from the moment he got drafted. He's coming in and, he's learning everything that they do and how they do it. And that's the only playbook, whatever coaching he has in his head.
But has Brissett showed you anything? Has Brissett showed you growth this year so far?
You can't answer that too much because just like you said, he doesn't get a lot of time in practice. In preseason, he comes in and he's playing with bums. Like he's playing with guys. He's playing with guys who's either not making the team, going to be on practice squad, or going to be bagging groceries somewhere.
And he's playing with those guys.
He's playing with those guys because
he's the third string.
But I mean, he doesn't have a choice. He doesn't have a choice on this team. Playing behind those two guys.
He doesn't.
The reason why I can understand where you're coming from is because the fact that I think Patriots are believing, and like everybody, they all believe that Brady's gonna be good this year. Yeah. So you know what you're getting from Tom Brady. You know what you got in Garoppolo. They believe he's ready. As soon as Brady's suspension kicked in last year, it wasn't even a thought of Belichick having some kind of quarterback battle, bringing in somebody. He came out and said Garoppolo is going to be our guy. So they believe in him. So it's tough, for Brissett. He's honestly in a tough situation. He's in a great situation because he's on the New England Patriots. He got a ring. He got a ring his rookie year. So he's in a great situation, for his career. But at the same time, he's in a terrible situation with his career because
it's tough. Man.
He's not getting a lot of growth. He's not getting a lot of reps. He's not getting a chance to play with, better players. Like it's a very tough situation, and especially for the reason you brought up. There's injuries taking place. The Patriots are losing guys, so the Patriots might want to go out and maybe sign somebody off free agency or something, and help fill some of these voids that they have because of injuries. And then you have Brissett, who is literally just sitting there. And if anything happens to Brady, they're not looking Brissett's way at all. They got Garoppolo ready to go.
And Brissett's not growing. You already have Garoppolo talking about, man, I can't even get any reps in because Brady won't let me. So if Garoppolo can't get reps in, and then when Garoppolo gets it, what makes you think Garoppolo's going to try to give some reps to Jacoby?
It's a tough situation for that guy, man.
It's really tough for Jacoby on this team when you got the GOAT. Then you have Garoppolo, who, like I was telling you earlier, and most people will agree, if the Patriots didn't want Garoppolo, he would have been gone. He would have been gone this offseason. They would have traded. They would have got many assets for him. Easily could have maybe got a first-round pick from Cleveland or someone. They kept him because they really believe in Garoppolo. What's their plan going to be with them in the future? We can go on a whole show about what they can do with that. But for right now, Garoppolo's here. You have Brady, you have Garoppolo. The need for Jacoby Brissett is very slim. Very, very slim right now. So I just want, the viewers to just keep that in mind when the cuts start happening, that we may not see Jacoby Brissett here for long. We loved him last year. He got us that 27-0 win against the Houston Texans. Against the Houston Texans. It was great to see him out there as a rookie, a black quarterback for the Patriots. But as of right now, the need for Jacoby is not there. So I really wouldn't be shocked at all if I see his name on a cut list, especially with the defense and the guys going down.
Yeah, the injuries that the defense, the team is suffering does not help his case at all, because now they're probably looking to fill some voids. So it remains to be seen. Whatever happens, Jacoby Brissett, I wish you the best, man. Because
are you talking about he's gone right now?
Whether he stays on the team,
I think I convinced Mike.
Whether he stays on the team or the Patriots, give him his walking papers. I wish the guy the best. He got a championship ring. So hey, you're a champion, whatever the case may be. You're a champion.
You're a champ. You're a champ. You're a champ. But let's switch gears, man, to my favorite part of the show, the stars and sorries of the day. It's preseason, so we're gonna slim it down. Just have one star, one sorry. Mike Molyneaux, man, can you explain to us what you're about to do? Star? You about to do the star of the night?
About to do the star of the night.
Star of the night, man.
For those who don't know, quick, reminder: star is a player who has really he balled out. He had a great game, great performance, great stats, whatever the case may be. Maybe a huge play. Whatever the case is, he is eligible to be a star of the game.
You want to be a star.
Absolutely.
Trust me.
So for tonight's game, for the Patriots versus the Texans, I have to give a star of the game to the starters on the Patriots offense. The guys who I personally believe might have to carry this team all season long if the defense doesn't, pull their stuff together. This team might depend on what Brady and the rest of his weapons and the points that they're able to put up. This is what the team might depend on. And luckily, they came out, they played first quarter, first couple of snaps, whatever the case may be. And we're all pretty sure that there were no injuries suffered. Gronk played, and he didn't suffer an injury. we have to be happy and grateful for that.
First time since 2012 Gronk was out there. It was good to see the squad, man.
Absolutely. Brady, Edelman, Cooks, those guys are out there. They all played one preseason game, no injuries. For the most part, they looked good. The whole team took a loss, but for the most part, the starters looked very good. I have to give them a star of the game.
I like that. The offense. No faults, with Brady under there, no sacks, no interception. They looked all right, almost an interception there by Brady, almost. But the GOAT don't throw interceptions. Come on now, that doesn't happen. So Mike, when there's the good,
there's the bad,
and when you're bad, we tell you sorry.
So, Marv, I know you have a sorry that you definitely want to talk about, just based off what we saw in this preseason game. Let them know.
Yeah, man, you don't want to be a sorry. Sorry is not, that's shameful. We don't like giving out sorries. We usually don't give out sorries to Patriots players or teams. We like to give it to the other guys, you know what I'm saying? But it's preseason. We got to be critics, we got to be hard on our guys. This week's sorry is going to go to, you said the offense was a star? So the defense is going to be the sorry. Malcolm Butler looked bad. It didn't look good. And there was talks this week about, overrated players in the Patriots. And Malcolm Butler's name came up a lot. It's weird because here in New England, we see how tough Malcolm Butler plays and how good he is, how he locks down guys. But outsiders, when they think of Malcolm Butler, they don't really think of a lockdown defender. And quarterbacks will not be afraid to throw to Butler. Mm-hmm. Butler does not does not put fear into any quarterbacks' hearts. They'll still throw it to him, test him out, and he'll make plays for sure. Butler didn't look good. The whole defense didn't really look good. Landon Roberts, went down with a hip injury. He got carted off. It looked like he was in serious pain. The line was bad. It was tough. Watson out there putting the ball under the leg into the touchdown. Like he was running on them. It just didn't look good. You mentioned earlier 31 points by Jacksonville, 27 by the Texans.
Between these first two preseason games and watching how the defense performed, it takes me back to a stretch of time. I think it was between 2010, the second time the Patriots faced the Giants in the Super Bowl, and all the way up to 2013, the year before they won the Super Bowl with Revis and Brown on the team. That team from that stretch was so bad. Those were the years I was really calling for the end. I said, why is Matt Patricia still on this team?
They would let up 400 yards a game.
The secondary, they were so bad. I couldn't stand it, and they really just depended on Brady, and especially at those times too. Brady had a lot of no-name guys that he had looking like stars out there. It was that stretch of time the defense looked bad, and through these first two preseason games, and once again it's only preseason, but through these first two preseason games, it takes me back to that stretch of time, seeing big plays down the field, like how Malcolm Butler was giving up plays. I don't want to be taken back to that stretch of time. Please, Patriots, don't take us back to that stretch of time with this upcoming season. But we're hoping for the best.
Because if you do, you know what we'll give you? A big fat old sorry.
Please, not this year. I beg you.
Nah, this defense is going to be all right. Let's get our guys back, man. Let's get our guys back. The Patriots will be fine on defense. It's preseason. We're used to preseason when the Patriots are out there, hitting hard, showing everything that they got. They're 0-2, but it's just preseason. Woosa. Let's relax. Let's see what happens. Week 3 is always a big week. Always a big week in preseason. We'll see. We'll probably see a little more Brady, see a little more Cooks, Edelman. Who are we facing next week, Mike?
Next week, on the 31st of August, the Patriots will be taking on the Detroit Lions. So, we'll get to see Stafford. We'll get to see a Golden Tate. We'll get to see a Marvin Jones Jr. We'll get to see a couple of guys over there guys who like Marvin and I, fantasy. We're taking note of who's out and performing and whatnot. But yeah, the Detroit Lions next week. Hopefully the Patriots get their first win in the preseason. Even though these games don't mean anything, it's good to come out on the winning side of things. But yeah, and right after that game, you'll find us two again holding it down, Patriots Postgame Show, like we usually do. Any last thoughts? Anything from this week?
Just running backs, man. Just keep an eye on those running backs. That's my main storyline for these preseason. Running backs. So check on the health on MikeNice, see what's happening with him. Burkhead looked great. And I'm looking forward to next week against the Lions. Lions always give us a good matchup throughout the history. So we'll see what we got there. Thank you guys for watching. This is the CLNS Patriots Postgame Show. Once again, I'm your host, Marvin Ezhan. This is Mike Molyneaux. We are signing off. Have a good week.